All right, today we're going to dive deep into the ideas from the book The Real Mind Control. It's all about a fascinating system called Neuro-Linguistic Programming, or NLP for short. Think of it as a user's manual for the human brain, designed to help you communicate better, not just with other people, but maybe most importantly, with yourself. So let's get right into it. Have you ever been there? You walk into a room, maybe it's a big meeting or just a party, and you feel that knot in your stomach? That little voice in your head worrying you're going to say the wrong thing? Or maybe you're trying to win over a client and you just can't seem to click. You feel like the conversation is happening to you instead of you guiding it. It's a really frustrating place to be. And you know that feeling? It taps right into a really basic human need. This quest for a little more control. We all want to get our ideas across clearly, to feel confident in our own skin, and to have a say in how things turn out in our lives. This is the exact problem that this book is trying to solve.
And we're not just talking about some vague anxiety. The source really breaks it down into these specific challenges we all face, right? The stress of high-stakes situations, that paralyzing fear of looking foolish, the struggle to build trust and rapport. All of these are the exact kinds of hurdles that NLP was supposedly designed to help us overcome.
So, what is this thing that claims to be the answer? It's called neuro-linguistic programming. And I know, the name sounds super complicated, maybe a little intimidating, but the idea behind it is actually surprisingly simple. Let's start with a quick look at where it even came from. Okay, so let's rewind to the 1970s. You've got these two guys at the University of California, Richard Bandler, a psychology student, and John Grinder, a linguistics professor. They teamed up with a really brilliant question. Instead of asking, why are people messed up, they asked, what do incredibly successful people do that works so well? They studied these amazing therapists and communicators and realized, whoa, these successful folks all share specific patterns in how they talk and even how they move. So they decided to map out those patterns and turn them into a system that anyone could learn. To really get what NLP is all about, all we have to do is break down that big, scary name into its three parts. Each piece tells us something really important about how this whole system is supposed to work. First up, you've got neuro. This is all about your brain and your nervous system. It's the idea that everything you know about the world comes in through your five senses. What you see, what you hear, what you feel, that's the raw data. Your brain takes all that information and builds your own personal, unique version of reality from it. Next is linguistic. And this is about language, sure, but it's way more than just the words you say. It's the whole package. It's your tone of voice, your posture, your little hand gestures. It's all the unspoken language we use to give our words meaning, both for other people and for ourselves. And finally, programming. Now, before you start thinking about computers and code, let's be clear. This is about your internal programming, your habits, your automatic reactions, your default thought patterns. The core idea here is that these programs aren't set in stone. Just like you can update the software on your phone, you can consciously choose to update your own mental software to get better results. Okay, so that's the theory, but how does this stuff actually work? Well, NLP is basically a toolbox filled with different techniques and mental exercises to help you, run your own brain a little better. Let's look at a couple of the most famous tools from the book. The first one is called anchoring. Remember hearing about Pavlov's dogs? How he trained them to salivate just by ringing a bell? Well, anchoring is kind of like the human version of that, only you're the one in control. It's about deliberately linking a powerful feeling, like pure confidence, to a simple, unique trigger, so you can fire it off whenever you need it. And here's basically how you do it yourself. First, you think back to a time you felt absolutely on top of the world, super confident. You really relive it in your mind. As that feeling gets stronger and stronger, you do your anchor. Let's say you just squeeze your thumb and forefinger together. You do it right at the peak of the emotion, then let go. Then, a few moments later, you test it. You just do the trigger again, and poof, that feeling of confidence is supposed to come rushing right back. And what's cool is your anchor can be anything that works for you. It could be a visual one, like picturing a symbol in your mind's eye, or it could be auditory, like hearing a power phrase in your own head, like, let's go. Or it can be kinesthetic, which just means touch-based, like we just talked about. The only rule is that it's something unique and easy for you to do. Okay, another really powerful technique is called reframing. This one is all about perspective. So let's say you totally bomb a job interview. Instead of labeling it a failure, you reframe it. You ask yourself, what did I learn here? Or how did this just prepare me for the next interview? You're not changing what happened, you're just changing the meaning you attach to it, putting it in a more useful frame. Now, all of these tools and techniques, they're not just random tricks. They're all built on top of a solid foundation of four core principles. The book calls these the four pillars of NLP, and they're what hold the whole philosophy up. So here they are. First, you've got rapport. That's all about building a real connection of trust. Second is sensory acuity, which is just a fancy way of saying actually pay attention to what you're seeing and hearing, the little details. Third is outcome thinking. Always know what you're aiming for. And fourth is behavioral flexibility. And honestly, this one's a game changer. It just means that if what you're doing isn't working, try something else. And if that doesn't work, try something else again. You just keep adapting until you get closer to your goal. So when you pull all this together, the techniques, the pillars, it all leads to what is probably the single most powerful idea in the entire system. It's a philosophy that can completely shift how you think about your place in the world. It's summed up perfectly in this famous little phrase: the map is not the territory. So what does that even mean? It means your perception of reality, your internal map of the world, isn't the world itself. The world is the territory. Two people can go through the exact same event, the same territory, but come away with two totally different maps. And here's the beautiful part. You might not be able to change the territory, but you always have the power to change your map. And that leaves us with one final pretty big question to think about. If it's true that your experience is created by your map, not the territory, that gives you an incredible amount of freedom. So the question is, if you could take out a pen and redraw your own map of reality right now, what's the first thing you'd change?